Yes.
Let's go for
This
it.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, this is the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Today is October the 8th, 2020. It is 5:32 p.m. and this is the work session of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number one on the agenda this evening is the facade renovation program, and we've had some additional revisions to it, which we're trying to get to a final draft so we can get this out there. And I don't know, at this point of the year, I don't know how much anybody's wanting to undertake. Of course, with this wonderful season we're having right now, it may be a long time before winter sets in. But in any case, Commissioner Bolton, you've been very instrumental, you and Commissioner Bolani, in putting something together. So from this point, I'm going to let you take that over because that is your baby at this point.
Oh, thank you. I always needed another child. Has everyone reviewed this third revision, and are there any particular questions that I can address for you?
I did. Go ahead, Reese. I'm sorry.
Mr. Bolton, I reviewed it, and I think it looks very good. I mean, the exhibits are well placed, and the map that you request reflects the district in 6 blocks, each direction, and stuff like that. It is, in my opinion, is very well done, and I think we minimized some of the issues that we're having before, that we wouldn't get applicants because it was so tedious on some issues. But as far as I can see for myself, and I haven't spent a whole lot of time other than maybe an hour or so reviewing this today, other than having the attorney review it, I think it's very well done.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree totally.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bolton, there's a couple of things that you had asked a few questions on, and
I did.
Yeah, and one of the things you asked is who would prepare a map depicting the 6-block expansion, and I guess what I haven't yet. We'll contact somebody at the city so that they can take that Corazon district in and put, superimpose something around it to show where that might be. I'll have to talk. I'll talk with somebody over at the city hall and see who would be able to possibly, take that and create another perimeter around the Corazon district. You did ask. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you asked. It's really important that we attach that so that people really have a good understanding of where the boundaries have been extended to.
Yes, it would be open to opinion every time we did it. So we need to have something in hard copy that there's no mistaking after, and we don't have to try to re-explain. You also asked about the application. Yes, some revisions are going to have to take place on the application. Minor revisions in that we have to change like the percentages. The app says 20%. We'll have to change it to 25%. But other than that, I think it's all inclusive on the application to take up what you proposed on the revisions.
Well, and if I may, I went onto the city website and found where our application form was supposed to be, and when I clicked on the link for this program, it took me to something totally different.
Okay. I guess we need to.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
This is Donald. Yes. I'm with you now.
Okay, we're talking about the facade program.
Yes,
We'll
can
have
I
to
ask,
invite
could I please ask what the THPD stands for?
The historic, Trinidad
Oh,
Historic
that.
Preservation,
Okay, development, probably. Department for Development?
yes, it's the committee or the commission that has taken on the designation of properties in Trinidad that are
Historic.
of historic nature.
Okay, thank you.
And you gave me the name, Carol. I don't have it on here, but I'll make contact and see if they want to be a part of that. I don't know why they wouldn't, because whatever's going to happen is to buildings that they may and may not have under their purview, under their designation purposes. So I'll make that.
Okay, and didn't we determine that was Christopher Smith?
Yeah, it's on one of your emails somewhere, but my emails are pretty in disarray right now. So
I believe it was Christopher Smith.
yes, yeah, I've got it somewhere, and I'll check to make sure and find a way to make contact.
Okay.
Anything else you ladies wanted to add as far as the draft itself? Because I think we do want to get it going to the next stage for final draft. Do we just need to make in your edit? You did say that we need to get a hold of the historic preservation district before accepting the draft. So do we want to wait for me to make contact with Mr. Smith before we go to a final draft?
I'll be happy to go ahead and put it in a final draft, and then if he is not in favor, we will just delete that portion. But if we have it in a final draft and he is in agreement with participating in this, then we'll be ready to get this off the agenda by next week, or next month, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, and then what I will do is I'll make the edits, because I have the draft, the Word document for the application form. I'll make the changes that need to be in there to conform with what this says.
Okay, you just let me know.
I'm letting you know.
Okay.
Chairman, may I ask if the one part where she's talking about the lien waivers, will that be left in there?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Do we want to include the lien waiver issue? Is it something that we're...
I think we talked about that, and this is really Fran's portion. We talked about that so that people could draw the money like they were drawing the money from the bank on a building project. And I think if we are going to go in that direction, with 25% of costs up front, 25% as construction continues, proper documentation, and 50% of costs at the end, then we have to have that.
Okay.
If I may,
Or something like it,
if I may add to that, as far as the lien waivers and providing proof before we submit payment, who represents TURA legally if the payment is made to the property owner and then they don't pay and no lien has been done at that time? We run into this issue before on county projects that the contractor was paid in full and yet the subcontractors did not submit the lien at that time or weren't paid, and then they submitted a lien after the fact. I just would be want us to be very cautious. Would we be involved in the litigation of that non-payment to the subcontractor from the property owner? If we withhold that, have we looked into that at all? And if not, is the city of Trinidad attorney represents TURA in case we have a contractor wanting to sue TURA for not submitting the payment to the business owner due to any other issues that they did not comply to the agreement. So they, the property owner didn't do one of these issues that were required on the facade program, and TURA does not pay them. Then does that subcontractor or contractor have the right to sue TURA based on us not funding that?
So, the lien, excuse me, this is Fran speaking. The lien waivers are basically a receipt of payment. So,
By the property owner.
by the property owner, I mean, unless we stipulate something with the property owner that also puts them on the hook to, well, I think there needs to be some documentation and some trail here. For instance, if we're going to give money to the property owner, then they have to agree to something that we provide that they have submitted or they have made payment. You know, and I mean, we're going to have, there is a little bit more documentation that I think is going to be involved here. And I hear what Lisa's saying, and it's a valid point. Unless we require that before payment is made, that that one of that either the chair or vice chair sign off on that.
Okay, and that will be part of the amendment to the application to show that the funding is going to be percentage upfront, 25% upfront, 25 with proper documentation at midway, and then the final 50% at the end, and that will require that there be, if there were if there were contractors involved, necessary lien waivers to prove up that. Well, then again,
I think it's dangerous ground.
But then again, if in fact they need that 50% to pay off the contractor, why would a contractor be willing to give a lien waiver at that point? Because he's still missing some portion of that money that the funding comes from us.
And that's my point, to put it in a nutshell, is when the project is complete, and we're not here to, we're here to help and assist and get these buildings, you know, the facades looking good again. I just hate to see TURA in a lawsuit when we pay the property owner in full after everything's done, and he or she or corporation fails to pay their contractors at the end of the project. I just want to make sure we are clear of any litigation when the property owner does not pay the contractor and say, well, TURA never paid us, or something like that. Just to make sure we are covered and not liable in any other lawsuit. But because when we request the lien waivers to submit the 25 or the next percentage stuff, I think that might put us in a position where we are actually requesting to see payment to them, and does that make us now liable, part of that contractor and private property owner's contract? So do we want to go into the weeds with that and be involved in a lawsuit, or do we? I understand why it's in there to protect everybody, but we represent TURA, not the property owner or the contractor. I just want to make sure that we won't get sued in this if the property owner not be paid and paid in full does not make payments to the contractors. So that's the only, other than that, I think everything looks good. That's my concern.
Well,
Well,
keep
one
in
of the
mind,
things that we need to think about too is that in a project, and as far as lien waivers, it's really meant for subcontractors like electricians or tradespeople, and as those portions of the project are finished, and then payment is made to them by whatever trade has helped. So it really, that's the purpose of the lien waiver in a project. But if we're going to just give money to a contractor and let that contractor handle the whole project, and who may or may not use subcontractors, then that lends a different perspective to using lien waivers. So and I think Louise has a very, very good point, which brings up the issue is, what is our position once in this? Are we partners with the business owner who then hires a contractor, or are we not any kind of relationship other than financial, giving out money?
we are only a funding source. We are not to be considered a partner in any way. We are strictly a funding source. And remember that the funding that we're going to provide is only at this point 25% of project costs. So that other 75%, if we're going to be considering the lien waiver, that's going to, that would behoove the property owner to have that come into place, because there's that other 75% of it is still out there, and it's their responsibility some way. So if we're going to try to weave these together, remember, we're only in it. Our skin in the game is only 25%. So I don't know how encompassing we want to be, or how broad based on this we want to be, because we're only in on it for 25%. And so for what we're providing, there's still 75% of the project cost out there, whatever that amount is. So that's one that is really a matter that that it's a property owner matter.
So that we don't need lien waivers.
We may not. Yeah, we may not. Yeah, I mean, we're going to say, if you come in and you show us what's done at the end and you're ready for payment, we're going to provide that payment, but that's just our portion. So I say, and for example, say it's a $10,000 project and they want $2,500. We've got $1,250 out, and then they're coming for $1,250 at project end. That's only a fraction of what the entire project is. There's still $7,500 out there that we assume is going to be paid. How do we control that? So the lien waiver is the as far as I see it, the problem of it is from the very beginning. That's an issue and a burden that has to be borne by the property owner.
Yeah, that's one I was trying to
eliminate that.
This is Carol. Do we feel like perhaps a caveat should be inserted into the end of our program?
Hey, I need to ask a question of Commissioner Leone.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, in the business that you're in, does that every once in a while, does that surface that you guys have to have ever had to do lien waivers on anything? How does
We do lien waivers all the time. We don't personally, but we, contractors.
But your company.
Yes. And it's really strange, especially when you start getting like third parties and fourth parties involved. It's really hard. But basically, they can't get their money until the lien waiver signed. Period.
At the financing source.
Right. So, but
So, yeah, it doesn't, I don't think it,
like, where do we say who has to be paid, or do they just show us $10,000 worth of what they've paid? I really don't know how that would work.
well, I think we're gonna require, and it doesn't preclude us from requiring lien waivers, because we wanna make sure that the money is used and used properly. So I don't know that we want to take it out. It's just that when we do it, it's just a matter of saying for our final 50%, even though it's a minor part of it, it's just a matter of, and I just brought it up because, I mean, the whole project is contingent on the owner being prudent in getting the lien waivers anyway, if that be the case. But, you know, one of those, it's a matter of how, my thought is, how do you get the contractors paid and get a lien waiver if you're waiting on the money? So, you know, it's the chicken and the egg thing, is because they need that money. You know, they're coming to TURA for money, or will be coming to TURA for assistance because they need that money. But if you're not going to be able to, how do you pay and get a lien waiver if you don't have it in hand to be able to pay off a contractor?
Well,
There are lien
may I?
waivers.
Go ahead.
All right, go ahead. There are lien waivers I have seen that they attach a copy of the check of what they are going to pay you. Okay, if you sign the lien waiver and you have the copy of the check and it's signed and it says when they get paid, then that's what you'll get. And that we've had that done too. I don't know how legal it is, but people have done that.
Okay.
Well, if they write you a check and post date it based on a promise that this will be a good check,
Right.
say 30 days from now, I think that would be sufficient. My only concern is not so much as the liens or not the liens, but to protect TURA from any lawsuit
I agree.
from contractors that say they get the check like Ms. Leone just stated, and then it bounces, it doesn't clear or something. I just want to make sure TURA doesn't get on the hook, even though we submit it, because they could submit all the liens waivers they want, but I don't want us liable for non-payment from the property owner. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to have, you know, total transparency from our property owners to the contractors to the TURA board, which is great. I think that's why this was generated. I just want to make sure we are not liable in any way of getting involved of a lawsuit for a property owner not paying subcontractor, even if a lien waiver is it. So I just want to make sure we cover our butt, so to speak.
Would it serve a purpose and make it better if I contact Les Downs?
Yes.
It could be as simple as a one
City attorney.
sentence. Yeah, it could be as simple as a one sentence addition to that TURA would not be liable for non-payment from the property owner to the contractor, despite the waiver has been submitted.
Okay, I'll consult with City Attorney Les Downs and get his opinion and maybe some language that would be appropriate.
And the only reason why I bring this.
Can I throw?
Go ahead, Fran. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I was going to, thinking about this. Maybe there's another way to look at it. When Ed said, well, you know, we're a funding source. In a funding source with a construction, this is basically a construction project. Okay, let's consider it a construction project. The bank wants to know, and I wants to know, okay, we're going to give you a draw after all these things are accomplished, so that the contractor or the property owner has to say, well, okay, we're going to do this by this time, this by this the next time, and once those are complete, then there's payment. You could also approach it that way instead of like doing a lien waiver.
Right, and on the county side of things, when we do some contracts for capital improvements, in majority of the contracts that we do under state statute and otherwise, at the end of the construction project, 5 or 10% is held back to the contractor, or in this case, it would be a property owner, until all mechanical or otherwise liens are cleared. So that might be something that Les might recommend, and then at the end, then everybody gets that last 5 or 10%. And I really was faced with this years ago when I first got into office, and Mr. Leone remembers this. Their companies, this exactly happened to them, this situation, and at that time they were out of some funding because of this type of stipulation. So I'd hate to see another contractor in Trinidad or otherwise in our area suffer for a poor business practice of a property owner or a contractor. So just to make sure all of our ducks are in a row, maybe that might be the way to do it at the end. It's not a lot of money, up to $10,000, but if we hold back 10% at the end until everything is cleared, that might be another way to go as well. So, thank you guys for all you've done. I'm not in the real estate business, and you guys probably know more of this stuff than I would, or even Mrs. Leone. I just want to make sure that TURA is not held liable for lawsuits from a contractor or anyone else for non-payment to our board. So.
Okay. Well, I'll get with Les Downs and get a little bit more clarification, and then get it to you, Carol, and Fran, Commissioner Villani, and Bolton. That way you can finish out the draft.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Anything else you on the committee would like to say about your document? All right. If that's not anything else to be on that particular matter, we're going to move on to item number 2 on the work session agenda. And this is one where I'm hoping that we're at the last stage. I'd hope that we could get this on the agenda for an actual adoption so we can go to the next phase. But because I just want everybody to understand it and answer any questions to it to the best that I can. There may be a couple of things there that if I can't, I have to get you answers from Mike Scholl at Ayers and Associates. But he and I did discuss it, so I'm thinking and hoping that I have answers to any questions. I did a couple of days ago, earlier in the week, I was able to send him some desired edits that he did, and we sent that out to you all a couple of days ago. So I hope you had a chance to see the revised version of it. Are there any questions?
This is Commissioner Bolton. I don't have any questions, and I like the changes that were made. I can't think of a thing that I would recommend changing.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
I concur.
Okay. Couple of things I want to explain in there, and this was explained to me by Mike Scholl of Why It's Done, because they do a lot of these. And they want to limit, once this goes out, once we advertise I'll send it out to the public and for proposals. One of the things that he said that is a good idea and should be held to is you're going to see where it's mentioned where the inquiries need to go. And he said, and it's our suggestion that we limit them, especially on the TURA board, because we will all be reviewing and make a decision on it. So it should be all questions or whatever else directed to one central point, which I get that dubious honor. I can have anybody else do it if you're so open to having it. But it's his suggestion that number 1, it be to a limited number for any questions or anything else. That way the same information goes out to everyone. As many questions that have to be answered as possible need to be done in writing so there's a proper paper trail. And it also prohibits anybody that either proposers or developers from going and talking to or trying to make their points with anybody else on city staff or within city government, elected or not. So that is what you see in there, and that's why the wording is in there, where it says that it could, inquiries and anything else have to be limited to those persons that it mentions, and it also prohibits anybody as a proposer from going out and discussing it or trying to do anything else with it with members of city staff and or elected officials. Is that?
I agree. I agree with that, because until we have an executive director, the chairman should be in that position. If this goes to the entire board, we will be violating sunshine laws. So as an executive director or administrator would do, they would send that individually to board members not to violate any of those sunshine things. So at this time, I think this is the right way to go.
So in other words, we treat it like it's quasi-judicial.
Yes.
Yes. And so it's yeah, I guess you could call it that way, but that's the reason that the wording is as you see it, because it's one to try to keep it centralized so that the information that is distributed or disseminated will all be uniform, and so that any proposers or developers don't try to do anything or any undue influence or anything else with other persons or agencies of the city that have no interest or knowledge of this.
Yeah, and again, this puts other board members in a dangerous position if we are contacted individuals, being a commissioner, being a contractor in Leone, being a real estate agent with Ms. Lonnie. All of these things make sense, because if we are not careful and we are approached, then that could be disqualification of any of us voting on any of these applicants. So, again, it makes great transparency.
Yeah, it keeps it clean. Okay, well, with that being said, then I think if unless anybody has any afterthoughts on this in the next day or so, I will tell Mike Scholl that we've accepted it. We will have it on our agenda for the next meeting. It will be accepted, and within that time, I will also ask him to, and they're offered other assistance to give us a little bit of a prototype of how we put the advertisement in the local newspapers.
Very good.
Anything else? Okay, we'll conclude that particular matter. We'll go on to item number 3, which is not number 5, but item number 3, items for future work session discussion. Does anybody at this time have anything that they would like to have us bring on with any details on our November meeting? Which, by the way, is November the 12th.
Do you see a need for the facade program to reappear on work session, or do you feel that by that time we'll be ready to go to regular meeting agenda?
Well, if we can all accomplish the tasks that we've discussed tonight, one, me trying to getting with city attorney and Mr. Smith from the Historic Preservation Board, if I can get those to you timely so that you can create a document that everybody can look at in advance of the next meeting. It could be on the agenda for adoption. I'd like to, meeting monthly creates a lot of delays on things. So if we can expedite anything by doing that, I think it would be nice to get it on that agenda for adoption.
I agree. I think that we've had plenty of discussion on this, and you have heard from all of us regarding the concerns. If it's on the agenda and there's a concern at that time, it could be tabled, or we just move forward with it.
Or approve it subject to certain change, amendment.
Right.
Okay. right, well, we'll determine how, in the next few days, how we get the answers, what answers I can get to you, Commissioner Bolton and Villani, and then you could take it to the final draft.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like to see on future work session discussion, executive director, funding for that position, possibly meet with the city to see where they're at with that, since Greg's son has moved on, and we don't have that position filled this time. I really feel that, Ed, you've done a great job, but you've got a lot of things on your plate too. And I really think that this TURA needs to have an executive director, so board members aren't requested to do all of the work behind the scenes that you've been doing with Brittany and so forth. So I'd like to see that on next agenda topic, and also the discussion with the city of Trinidad to fill the vacant seat that it is gone now that I'm drawing a blank here. Darn it.
Yeah.
That we had that vacated for a while. So I don't know if that's been talked about last month, and I apologize for not being here last month, everybody. I had too many Thursdays on my calendar and missed it. I apologize. But those are the two items I'd like to see.
Well, Commissioner Lopez, we have discussed the vacancy, and we discussed, actually had some discussion on that last month on both of those items. One, the vacancy, it's just we and all other boards are seeing, there's just not a lot of public response to the advertisements and requests, and so it's just a matter of waiting to see what. I don't know how we can actively do it unless we know persons that are out there that we can suggest to that they would put in, and specifically ask to be on the Urban Renewal Authority. So if anybody does know anybody that is willing to be active in public service, mention the Urban Renewal Authority. And as far as the executive director, we did, Commissioner Lopez discussed that briefly. And one of the things that we are able to get is if there are certain matters that come up that we need assistance on, we can, for a fee for service, contact and get assistance from Ayers and Associates, same company that did our RFP. So unless if it's something of a technical nature, and until we have what we need to be able to keep a director busy and for the money that it would require, we can probably do it. I don't know how to call it, but we can do it in a way that if we need the assistance from with documentation or any perspective, we do have people available to us on a fee for service basis at Ayers and Associates.
Okay, and I again apologize, I was last meeting, but that still brings up the question to me of reimbursement for whoever is performing this tax at the time. At this time, it is you, Mr. Grego, and maybe you should be stipend for your efforts.
Oh, no,
I don't
absolutely.
know how the city of Trinidad did it before, as far as incorporating it with the city manager's job description, including that in the salary. I know at this time, I don't think that was included with the contract with the new city manager. However, you do put a lot of time into this program, and it's just what's fair is fair, to be honest with you. You should probably look at getting stipend for your time.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, I don't think that's. I think that's an issue that would violate a state statute. So I don't think that would be. We'd have to actually have someone, and it's something that can be discussed. But like I say, as it goes now, it's not. It is from a standpoint of time, because sometimes I feel that the time that I'm able to provide to it is inadequate for what needs to be done. And so, it's a leadership position that I don't, sometimes I'm doubtful whether I've taken it full bore like I should. But then again, and I'm no different than anyone else here. Everybody has businesses and occupations that have a priority over all else. But no, I think we can do it that way. And if it really gets hairy and scary, I will let you all know individually that we need to do something. But I think, the true test of this is going to be how we handle this RFP, how we take that to the next step, and we'll see how we are able to make that happen.
Okay, well, I applaud you and all of the board members for all their efforts. Even though this is none of us get sidetracked, it is a true testament to our commitment to our community. So thank you all.
Now, we're a good team. We are a good team. Well, that being said, I think we're done with the work session agenda. We will move on now to the regular meeting with a few items to address, not many. So today is, again, October the 8th, 2020. It is now 6:12 p.m. This is the regular meeting of the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. Item number 1 on the agenda is a roll call.
Rock. Bolton.
Here.
Leone.
Here.
Lopez.
Here.
Villani.
Here.
Grego.
Here. Item number 2 is an approval of the minutes from the last meeting that was conducted in September 10, 2020. Everyone was sent an advance copy of the minutes and all that transpired that evening. If you have the opportunity to review, the floor is open for motion.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of September meeting.
There is a motion to accept by Commissioner Leone. Is there a second?
Second, Carol.
Motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Roll call.
Rock.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yes.
Leone.
Yes.
Lopez.
Abstain?
Villani.
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 3 is a financial report. Everyone was provided with a copy. What you have is a recap of the total sums of money we have in the 2 combined accounts for the Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. The main operating account has a balance of $244,333. The project account, which we keep open for having to do certain administrative funding as projects are brought forward, that has a total right now of $2,468 for a total of $246,801. Are there any questions as far as the accounts? Not? Ready for a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the financial report as presented.
I second it.
Motion and a second. Are there further questions or comments? Roll call.
Rock.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yes.
Leone.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Villani.
Yes.
Grego.
Yes. Item number 5, petitions or communications, oral or written. Not aware of anyone looking to make a presentation or ask questions this evening. Item number 6, old business. None of record. Item number 7, new business. None of record. No report by an executive director. Item number 9, reports by commissioners. Is there anything that any of the commissioners would like to bring forward or have made note of this evening? The records show there are none. Item number 10, adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. If there are no dissenting votes, we will consider this meeting to be adjourned. It is 6:16 p.m. Good night. Thank you, everyone.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Good night.